Hello, welcome to this update for the U.S. and Canada. Let's just see what's happening. So today is December 17th. Let's see here. So first things first, we do have some stuff on the northwest there, some winter storm warnings in Montana, parts of Wyoming and Washington, and also some big wind warnings there and high wind watches. And also some red flag warnings in California and some wind advisories as well, and wind warnings. Even some winter weather advisories in northern Colorado and parts of South Dakota and Minnesota. So let's see. We do have today a marginal risk of severe weather, if, like Texas, Oklahoma, parts of Arkansas and Tennessee into Mississippi. So let's see. Isolated strong to severe thunderstorms are possible tonight through early Wednesday morning across parts of northeast Texas vicinity into western Tennessee. So be aware there tonight to like tomorrow morning. So wind 5% there, mainly wind. Hail at 5% as well from Texas to Tennessee. And tornado at 2% further east, like in Arkansas, Tennessee, and Mississippi. So be careful in those areas, be aware. Tomorrow is still a marginal, mainly inside Tennessee, and a general risk of storms to the southeast. So still some wind there in Tennessee, some hail, no area. So just wind and a 2% tornado threat central to western Tennessee tomorrow. So isolated damaging wind and a brief tornado are possible through midday Wednesday across parts of Tennessee Valley. So be aware there. So some wind and tornado threat. And day 3 through 8, nothing. Just like no severe. So a general storm in Florida. And fires still critical in California and elevated near like Southern California between Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, and Ventura counties. So be careful there. That's critical. So let's see. Quasi-zonal mid-level flow expected to quickly amplify, reaching develops over western U.S. today and tonight. Surface high develops quickly, build over the Great Basin. Cold front moves eastward across central U.S. High pressure will allow for moderate offshore winds and much drier air mass moving towards Southern California. The strong winds and low humidity will support elevated critical fire weather concerns in Southern California. So be careful there. And tomorrow is still critical in basically the same areas and the elevated there. So be careful, the fire danger. Try not to do dangerous things that cause fires and stay safe. So let's see. Today we have also some general snow probabilities in parts of the northern plains, but mainly in like South Dakota, Minnesota, into the Midwest there, and some in Idaho too, and an area of heavier snow near western Wyoming, and more general snow Montana, parts of Colorado, and Wyoming. And we do have like some mixed precipitation in the northeast, and even freezing, a tiny probability of freezing rain just north of Maine there into Canada. It shows more in Washington, some heavier snow possible, and some freezing rain as well, and the critical fire there in California. So be aware. And now day 2, still some freezing rain possible. South Dakota, North Dakota, into Montana, and Minnesota, and in a spot or two of New Hampshire and Vermont and Pennsylvania. Shows some general rain and storms to the southeast. Day 3 still shows some general snow in the northern Midwest and parts of the northeast, and some mixed precipitation the northwest. So be aware. We have that marginal risk of excessive rainfall southeastern Florida because of some storms in the Bahamas that we talked about in the Caribbean video. So be careful there today, Tuesday. Day 2, nothing. Day 3, still nothing. Day 4, day 5, marginal in California again for Sunday, the 22nd. So be aware, snowfall probability shows some there in Wyoming, Colorado, especially western Wyoming, a finger or two in South Dakota, Minnesota, but very low. And some higher snowfall probabilities in Washington, and even a spot or two in Oregon, Montana, and Idaho. And then tomorrow for Wednesday, some more snow probabilities in North Dakota and to Minnesota, and especially across Canada there in Saskatchewan. And show some slight probabilities across like the northeast for Wednesday and Montana there in Washington. Day 3 shows more there across the northern Midwest, Wisconsin, and let's see, day 4 some slight probabilities near like the Northeast or the Appalachians, but very slight. Day 5 shows a thing or two near the Great Lakes, but more like the Northwest. Day 6 the Northwest shows, and day 7 still the Northwest. So be aware, and precipitation does show. Uh, so this is Wednesday to Thursday, but now it's Tuesday. I have no idea why it doesn't show Tuesday. But anyway, let's see. So tomorrow, Wednesday does show still rain Florida, but this looks more like today because they have the marginal is there. So be aware in Florida, and I don't know what's happening to this date. So let's see. But be aware Washington, Oregon, especially that snow and rain in Washington, and the storms there shows the mid-south as well. Day 2 from Thursday to Friday, apparently it shows still some more in Florida, more rain throughout the east and some in the north. Might be snow as well, but mainly rain. Day 3 shows some rain in the north, not northeast, but like mid-Atlantic, Midwest, in the northwest. Day 4 starts coming to California again, shows more the marginal risk that we have, shows more Northern California, and especially like shows in Oregon, Washington. Day 5 more across the northwest again, and a shower too in another area. Day 6 more the northwest, so be careful there. This is this way like the 24th or something. Day 7 shows even more in California and Christmas, so yeah, be aware, and shows more there. That's like the 24th to the 25th. So yeah, and a shower during the central US. So day 1 through 7 shows that rain southeastern Florida, more there through the northeast, the mid south, and there's a drier area like the central southwest. But in the northwest shows extremely wet because of those systems there. So be careful, the snow and everything. Now the hazards does show still some heavy snow. Day 3 through 7, the part of the Midwest, and some heavy precipitation there, the Northwest. Now, the day 8 through 14 shows there like some high winds, even like a high risk, a moderate risk, a slight risk of high wind, and under that is snow. Uh, in the pink there shows some risk of heavy precipitation in the south, the 8 through 14, and that might include some severe weather too, and shows more the much below our average temperatures, the 8 through 14. So be careful. And now the winter storm severity index does show some stuff happening in the northwest, day 1 through 3. Be careful on those higher peaks, because if you go high enough, it goes even too extreme there in some parts of Washington. So be aware, the snow shows North Dakota, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and the northeast. And it still shows those much below average temperatures, day 6 through 10 across the west, and some below average on the east. Day 8 through 14 still shows above average temperatures. Yeah, that's new. And shows precipitation, day 6 to 10, highly above average in parts of the northwest and parts of the southeast and the south, and some like some below average, the northeast, the southwest. The day 8 through 14 does show more above average across the west, and below average the southwest and the northeast. So be aware. And now let's just go through this already so we can have it. So let's see. Still shows some May is in southern Florida, some 70s this afternoon, and still pretty chilly across the north, some 20s and even some teens in the mountains. So be aware. Today is December 17th, today. Yeah, and then tonight into Wednesday, shows much colder in the north. There's all the way to -6 North Dakota, and even less than that in the far north there near Canada. So be careful. Plus the wind chills might be even less than -10, and shows some 30s all the way down to Texas, some 20s, maybe some single digits in parts of the mountains in Colorado, Wyoming. So be aware. Some 30s there in the northeast, and then during the day, Wednesday shows warm on the southeast still, some 70s, and even 80 southeastern most Florida, and even Southern California, some 70s and 80s, Southern Arizona, still cold, some teens and single digit there in the north, and some 30s, the northeast, and still cold in the Rockies there. So be aware now. Where is it? Here. So Wednesday night to Thursday morning, they show those minimum temperatures like -1 in the north, even close to -2. It shows some 30s all the way down to central Texas, some 20s, 17, 30s all throughout to the northeast, and some 20s there in the Rockies, and some teens, especially those high peaks close to single digits, and some 20s and teens, Nevada, some parts of Sierra Nevada, and in Idaho. And yes, so be careful. Thursday afternoon shows still quite warmer in the south, but cold in the north, some 9, even less Fahrenheit, so some 20s in other parts of the Midwest, and some 30s in the northeast. In the mountains, still cold, and let's see, Friday, the 20th does show all the way to -11 across the north there, like -2, some 6, 8 degrees, some 20s across the Midwest and the Northeast, and especially some teens and close to single digits northern Maine shows some 20s too in many areas, and like teens in the mountains, and even choose some parts of Idaho, northern Nevada, so be aware. Now, uh, day 4, so the 20th during the day shows a little bit warmer, some southern spots still, but still cold. There's some 6, 8 Fahrenheit in the north and the northeast, some 30s, kind of chilly in some mountains still, parts of the Rockies. And now it's Saturday morning, so Friday night for Saturday shows some 30s all the way down to southern Mississippi. So this cold is really digging down. Shows some 20s and teens the Midwest, all the way to -5 in northern Minnesota, some single digits. Shows some 20s, teens in parts of the mid south, mainly 20s and 30s. It shows there in the Rockies pretty cold, especially in the high elevations, some 20s, and even some single digits, the purple spots there in the mountains, bear some high elevations of Nevada and California, and also the northeast, some teens there, some 20s. So be aware, the mountains, some 20s and teens, and then like day 5, the afternoon, Saturday afternoon still, cold in the north there, kind of warm in southern, southwest, south central in Texas, and southeast in Florida, but still kind of chilly in the Rockies, depending on the elevation, and cold in the north there, all the way from the northern plains to northern Maine and the Appalachians, still some 30s and 20s. So be aware. And now day 5 minimal, like Sunday morning, does show this cold coming more further east into the northeast, some 10, 7 Fahrenheit, and those dark purples like -1, -2 Fahrenheit. So be careful, plus the wind chills, and then some 11, 13 in parts of Pennsylvania, some 30s all the way down to Florida, some 4 is the low 30s northwest of most Florida, in Alabama, Mississippi, some 20s even, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Texas, and parts of the plains. Further north the plains, some 20s, teens, and single digits, even -1, the northernmost plains, and across the west, still pretty cold, some 20s, teens, especially in the high elevations. So be aware. And like Sunday afternoon, still pretty cold in our northeast, some 20s, teens, and even less. It shows warm across the south, but already starting to get colder in the high elevations there once again on the west. And day 6, like Sunday morning, shows once again the northeast, those 7, 4, 11 Fahrenheit, and we'll take a look closer up in a second. Shows some 20s and 30s all the way down to like Georgia, Florida, and cold in the northwest. Not northwest, but like the west, the Rockies. Some 20s, teens in the mountains, and like in the north, there's still some low teens. So be aware. Now, the northeast for like this next Monday morning shows all the way to -6 Fahrenheit in New Hampshire, 1 Fahrenheit, -6 northern New York, so 4 8 Fahrenheit, so 14 New York City. It shows all the way to -4, -3 Fahrenheit, so 3 8 6 Fahrenheit in Pennsylvania, and still cold in West Virginia, those areas. So be aware. Now let's see. The 48-hour precipitation already shows heavier than northwest in Washington. The precipitation close to like 5 inches or something, not northern Washington, even 6. In Florida, close to 4, almost 5 inches in 48 hours. The storms there, the south, so be careful. Same thing for snow. 48 hours snow in Washington and Idaho, right? It shows more. Northern Montana shows more there, like Minnesota and northern North Dakota and other parts there, even central eastern North Dakota. But in Washington shows close to 20 inches or even more in the highest peaks. Shows some in the northeast as well. Tiny hint in Appalachians, but more further north. So be aware. And now the 24 max wind gusts does show more than 70 mph gusts northern Montana and some 60 70 mph gusts in other areas. Those reds are like 15 something mph gusts, so be careful, like 45 to 55 the reds. Those browns Montana like 65 to 70 or even more, so be careful. Northern Washington, west, especially western Washington, close to 50 to even 60 mph gusts. And in California, those fires show some 40, even some yellows, even close to 60 mph gusts, some spots. So be careful. This is just the next 24 hours. And those forecasts change all the time, so be aware it might change too. But just the model here showing like a recap on the temperature, so it shows that cold coming down the north there. That's Wednesday morning. This goes moves east and gets colder like on the northeast as well. And like this Saturday morning, the cold comes all the way down. And don't confuse yourself because this is in Celsius. So here, and let's see, Saturday, Sunday shows gripping more the northeast Sunday morning, and this goes Monday. Monday morning showed you very cold there, and comes all the way down there into southern Georgia, those 20s, and later. So be aware. Now for Canada, we do have two bunch of warnings on the west and a thing or two on the east. So mainly in Alberta, extreme cold warnings. So this is extreme, be careful. Many areas you see the coldest conditions begin this evening. Extremely cold wind chills near 40, -4 degrees Celsius expected tonight. Temperatures will moderate on Wednesday. Extreme cold puts everyone at risk. So be careful. Shortness in breath, chest pain, muscle pain, weakness, numbness, and color change, fingers and toes. So dress warm and be careful. And just find your location here for more information. There are even some snowfall warnings. Just click on snowfall there. So heavy snow to about 10 to 15 centimeters expected in a part or two of Alberta. So be careful. More extreme cold warnings and some snowfall warnings. British Columbia, more special weather statements, some areas. Snowfall to accumulate 10 to 15 centimeters. So let's see, more snowfall warnings there. Mainly rainfall snowfall warnings in British Columbia. Mostly south central British Columbia, more rainfall. Some wind warnings in western British Columbia too. North coast, coastal regions, more snowfall warnings. So be careful. Northwestern territories, extreme cold. Be careful. And near -50 Celsius. Be careful. Nova Scotia, with wind warning still, strong winds expected or occurring, even close to 110 km/h gusts. Nunavut, blizzard warning. Clyde River, expected on Tuesday today, so be careful. You can find more information here, so strong winds and everything. So Saskatchewan, extreme cold, so be careful there too. -40, even -45 wind chills in Celsius, so be careful. A bunch of extreme cold in Yukon, extreme cold and blizzard, so be careful those blowing snow and blizzard warnings. So here, as you can see, throughout Alberta, those areas in red, the extreme cold, but even outside those warnings, it will be very, very, very cold. So be careful. and the wind warning is British Columbia, the rainfall, the snowfall warning is there. So be careful, this link is in the description so you can see. So the GFS shows those stuff there, still shows some snow in northern parts of northern Quebec, some stuff on the east there, some rain in Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, but the other systems coming on to the west shows that heavier snow there throughout Washington, southern British Columbia, shows especially heavy on Wednesday and not way to Alberta. So this goes some in northern Montana too. The GFS showing more snow like southern Saskatchewan into North Dakota between the 18th and the 19th. This goes and dies more down in the Midwest around the 19th and kind of dissipates, but still leaves us some whispers of snow to the northeast. The 20th shows more snow like Saskatchewan and some areas dives down again, and it is bringing more systems towards the coast like some rain British Columbia on the 21st, and more rain, the heavy rain in California later on the 21st and 22nd into Washington and Oregon, with snow starting abundantly throughout the northwest on the 22nd. It shows more rain and snow on the west coast on the 23rd, and even another system late on the 24th. So back to back systems there. Beware. Then later, the first system might make it further east, shows snow like through southern Ontario, northern Minnesota, Wisconsin, the 23rd. This goes not way towards the northeast, that goes there, and still shows on the 26th more snow on the northwest, those mountains, and more later, especially like southern Alaska, showing some bigger stuff too. So be aware. And now the European model has something similar, still shows snow in Quebec and those areas that goes there, shows the big system now in British Columbia and Washington with the snow, more snow Wednesday tomorrow into Alberta and Montana, eventually into like Saskatchewan and North Dakota, and dives down into the Midwest on Friday, some snow there, and has more system on the coast on like the 19th in British Columbia and Alaska, more snow, and more systems hitting like southern Alaska with rain and snow the 21st, and the one in California the 21st. And more snow the northwest, and the European brings a big uh, extratropical cycle like 9:56 on Sunday and Monday the 23rd and the 22nd, 23rd, with more snow and heavy rain on the west coast. So yeah, be aware, and even more stuff later. And yeah, and later like the 26th showing more snow the Rockies and potentially some severe weather and more stuff later as well. So be aware, there's like uh, the Canadian model too, so shows the system there now in Quebec and New Brunswick. The snow goes away into Greenland, then has the snow there because big part of British Columbia, and this goes northern Washington and Idaho, and it indicates the heavier snow to southern Saskatchewan, even to Alberta, and later diving into North Dakota and the Midwest. And showing some more scared snow from the northeast and Appalachians the 21st, still late on the 20th. So beware, and shows more systems on the west coast later, especially like a bigger one, the 24th or something. So be careful those areas. And here, like for the storms, let's see if it loads. So the her has like those storms because this already Wednesday, but show like this is tonight, starting tonight to Wednesday morning. So especially be careful Wednesday morning, Oklahoma and Arkansas shows those storms there. Later to Wednesday, this is at noon or something. Still shows that line of storms from Texas to Kentucky. Be careful in Tennessee and Arkansas, the tornado threat. This goes there. Wednesday afternoon shows a little bit less, but still some storms there. So be careful, but she was more scared in Florida late Wednesday evening or something, and still like today and throughout early Wednesday. So be careful, shows the system in Washington there in Oregon with the heavier snow and rain as well as into Canada. So be careful. Uh, let's see if it's like wind gust or something. So it has some stronger winds the Rockies now, but on the coast of the northwest, beware in the oceans this goes, has the stronger winds in Montana, but not like, yeah, later on. So has some close to 70 mile per gust in Montana, or even more later on Wednesday. And these winds spread throughout Montana and those areas, even northern Wyoming, some 60 mile per gust or even more, and all the way north into Alberta's and some higher gusts too. So we'll check that now as well. So let's see. This the European shows those stronger winds there in Washington and Oregon, like here, especially along the coast. That system 50 mile per gusts. This goes into Wednesday, shows the higher gusts there in the northwest in the mountains, and starting Montana area, those higher gusts, Montana into Alberta close to like 70 km per gust, even like 80 or 90. So be careful. Shows more like southern Montana and some parts of Wyoming, especially high elevations prone to the strong wind, and Oregon, many areas. Wednesday through Thursday, these winds transitions more towards Montana. Shows some very high gusts, close to 64 mile per gust in Montana, 50 mile per gust down to Wyoming, some high gusts. Shows even like some spots in Wyoming close to 65 mile per gust, more throughout Wyoming there. Be careful, and more throughout central western Wyoming, especially those specific spots there. So be careful all the way down to northern Colorado, those high gusts, and more spots in Montana. So be careful tomorrow, Wednesday, Montana. This like Wednesday night, but that skipped ahead a little bit. So a little bit earlier before that, the Europeans all the way to like 74 mile per gust in northern Montana. So really be careful. Those areas in Idaho, northern Idaho, be careful too. And those areas there, and at the same time, shows there southern Alberta close to 111 km per gust, 116, 99, like some 83, 96. So be careful those stronger winds. And now later still shows Wednesday to Thursday, more winds into North Dakota and eastern Montana. Still continues northern Colorado and Wyoming. So be aware, South Dakota into North Dakota there's some 40, even 50 mile per gust, and that dives down kind of into the Midwest, some 44 mile per gust Friday, and some bigger stuff on the East Coast later. So be aware, but let's just see it now. So it has like something forming up there. Then this goes, might be some bumpy seas on Friday and Saturday in the northeast, mainly on Saturday. Then it starts going towards Atlantic Canada, shows more Nova Scotia, some higher gusts, southern Newfoundland, close to, let's see, kilometers. So close to 93 kilometers per gust, some 78 to 80, St. Pierre, Miquelon, BOR as well. And this goes there, the 21st into the 22nd, shows some higher gusts, mostly throughout Newfoundland and Labrador, shows further north close to 95, the coastal Labrador as well. So be careful, that goes away and goes into Greenland and Iceland there. Gotta watch later too. And so let's see. So be aware now, the folks in Alaska, there's those high winds, the Aleutian Islands, be careful there. Shows more stuff later. So right on the southern part there in the archipelago shows some 70 mile per gust, 71. This is already the 19th after tomorrow. So be careful those gusts, even near like the west coast. So this goes there, and then we bring some other system to southern Alaska around the 21st. Be careful those coastal areas, and shows more like some 58 mile per gust, some 60, even like 66. So be careful, and let's see. And Anchorage is safer, a little bit further north, but still quite breezy sometimes. So this goes the 21st. Does show some high gusts in Anchorage around the 20, late in the afternoon, the 21st, and more there, and especially those valleys or areas there, south central Alaska, some higher gusts. So this goes more like central Alaska to western Alaska, some higher gusts possibly, and into Sunday, this goes, calms down, but more later, especially southern Alaska there. so 65 mile per gust shows there all the way to British Columbia, and this is already the 23rd, so some different stuff happening there, but be aware and more stuff later. So now special shows those winds there, but later the 22nd, around the 21st, does show there'll be a system in California, so some high gusts in Oregon, Washington, and shows there this goes. And but especially this is like the 23rd shows some high winds in British Columbia near northern Montana, and then this like the 23rd this goes, and the Europeans have some crazy stuff on like the 20th, the 24th, which like Washington, Oregon has some very high gusts, especially along the coast, more in the northern mountains of California, into Washington there. There's almost 59 mile per gust, 63, and this goes there and shows this like aiming a little bit further north into British Columbia. Coast like 112 to 116 km per gust. Even shows right the westernmost point there, 130 km per gust. The 24th, more across western British Columbia there later. So be aware, but this forecast changes a lot. And still shows more later. This around a day after Christmas shows still some high gusts throughout the west, and more later, like the 28th or something. But we'll monitor that. This forecast changes a lot. And in the north, there's some Arctic winds sometimes where where those isolated blizzard warnings are, and shows like northern northwestern territories near Papalahook, a little bit higher Friday. This goes there, and more later. So be careful. Now the temperatures are still like very cold there. Let's see, just like I showed you on the warnings, of course, like -4 Celsius, the wind chills. But in terms of temperatures, some -33, -30, and some spots close to like -35 or something, so -36. So really be careful. That -36 might be close to like some -40 wind chills and something. So really stay warm. Shows uh, Wednesday morning, tomorrow morning, all the way down to southern Saskatchewan, so -22, so -26, -34. So really be careful. Those areas show southern -24, northern Quebec, southern Ontario a little bit better, but western Ontario very cold. Southern Quebec's a little bit negative temperatures, New Brunswick, but better than some parts of the west. Southernmost British Columbia, some 7 degrees. Vancouver, but further north, very cold. It shows more there across Alaska, so some 20 stings, and even negative Fahrenheit across eastern Alaska. So this goes Wednesday, the cold dives down to most of central Ontario, some -26, -28, some -30, northern Saskatchewan still to northwestern territories, -33 to -39. Uh, Near Yukon, northwestern territories. So -40 degrees might be close to like -55 wind chills or something. So that can be extremely dangerous. Even like -41 degrees, please stay safe. But those areas shows more like Nunavut, very cold, and much of those areas, northern Quebec and Labrador. Be aware, this like Thursday morning shows very cold most of southern Quebec and Ontario, but Thursday into Friday morning shows again central Quebec, those -28, -29, -28. Most of Ontario very frigid, and Manitoba very cold too, and still Saskatchewan, and still cold on the west, very cold, but not as extreme as it's now. So be aware. So wind chills later Friday on the east into Saturday shows this harsh cold in Ontario, so -30 even, -28 Manitoba, very cold, and like into Labrador. So yeah, be careful. Saturday, still into Sunday, some harsh cold in between Quebec and Ontario, and southern Ontario, some spots -26, but the far south, so -10, -13, so -19 Quebec City, and even like in Ottawa, so -21. So yeah, be aware. Northern Quebec and Labrador very cold as well, and still like Manitoba cold, and Nunavut, those areas of the north. Then this goes there. It goes like Monday 23rd, further into eastern Canada. So like some 20 minus 26 in Quebec, Labrador, all the minus 32 in the north, Newfoundland, and especially like New Brunswick. This goes and more stuff later. So be aware. And also be aware that this forecast might change because, for example, the GFS and some other models might have different ideas, but the GFS also showing that harsh cold coming down there, like Friday extending to Ontario and Quebec, doesn't show as extreme as the European, but it's showing some harsh cold there too. Sunday to Monday, more across the east. Monday's not showing as cold as the European, but it does show those core temperatures there. So be aware. There's like the icon too shows those very cold temperatures. The icon across the northern Yukon is like minus 47 degrees. So it's hard to know if it's true because the models have different opinions. But if this is true, the wind chills might be close to minus 60 or even more. So please stay safe no matter what. So this goes Tuesday, Wednesday, the cold air dives south through central Canada, extends on Thursday into Ontario and Quebec, and gets colder there. Saturday the 21st, very cold in Ontario and Quebec, just like the European showed. And yeah, so be careful those areas, especially the wind chills. So now there's the snow too from the icons. So let's see if this is, yes, this centimeters. So let's see around Canada first. So only the next 12 hours in British Columbia where it shows some 28 centimeters, 19 centimeters. So be aware. And it still shows in Quebec and Ontario that snow there, and some parts of Quebec, even a finger or two in Ontario. And then in the next one day and 21 hours already shows more accumulations southern Saskatchewan to Alberta and more in British Columbia, especially a little bit heavier, some peaks there. So be careful. British Columbia dives to like even southern Manitoba, shows more snow showers southern Ontario, the Great Lakes, and into Quebec. This goes all the way to Labrador and shows some northern Nova Scotia, and like this until Thursday shows Western Newfoundland there. And if I put this until Sunday now, the 22nd, alright, increase especially like in Newfoundland, goes like to 72 centimeters, more Nova Scotia, shows more the next 5 days, New Brunswick, it shows, doesn't change much in Quebec, but still heavier snow near Hudson Bay in some areas there. In Ontario, doesn't change that much, but still, yeah, across Alberta, Saskatchewan, those areas didn't change much, but maybe some additional snow. And British Columbia uh, still shows that snow there didn't change that much, but some additional snow eastern British Columbia, especially across western British Columbia, increased more there, especially further north, close to even like 90 centimeters or something next 5 days. So be careful now. That's the icon. The European shows a similar thing next 5 days more, cause like Newfoundland and Labrador, especially like Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, into like Labrador and Quebec, across western Quebec there, and shows more there like in Saskatchewan from this system now show like some 23 centimeters, more Saskatchewan, southern Manitoba, and more there like into British Columbia, those higher accumulations. So be careful in those areas, and also figure to Nunavut, even like northwesternmost Yukon, and yeah, and southern Yukon in the mountains. So those very high mountains, all the to 129 centimeters or even more, 163 in the next 5 days in northwesternmost British Columbia and Yukon. So be careful. Shows more for Central British Columbia and more areas there. So yeah, be aware. And now, just until Friday, the European has already, there's snow in Washington, there's some 21 inches, and Marcos, northern Idaho, some 9 inches, even close to 10, some 4 inches, other parts of Idaho, and more there in Oregon, some 2 inches, and a spot or two, Montana, some 5, 6 inches for further north you go, it shows more there for northeastern Montana, some as well, some 4 inches. In other parts of Montana, it shows in Colorado, Wyoming, some 1 inch and something, 1.4. That's snow there, and shows the snow coming down there into North Dakota, 5 inches, and it's just until Friday. Shows Minnesota some 4 inches, more to Wisconsin, shows more, especially eastern Wisconsin, 5 inches, and into Michigan. Northern Illinois does show some in Iowa as well, and into Ohio shows more like New York next 2 days and 12 hours, Vermont, New Hampshire, and some lighter snow in Maine as well, even northern Pennsylvania and Ohio. So be aware. And now 5 days until Sunday, it increases a little bit across Maine in some areas, but very little. But does increase some in New York to 4 inches, and shows more than like Michigan, some areas to even 4 inches. But doesn't change that much, but does increase in North Dakota to 8 inches from Friday to Sunday, and shows more there. And especially in Washington, increases a little bit more to 23 inches some areas. And in California, shows in the Sierra Nevada next 5 days, so 1 inch, 1.9, some 4 inches, some northern mountains. So be aware, but nothing that crazy. And I don't know if we checked there, but like I talked about Ontario, but I didn't say further south, like southernmost Ontario, some 20 centimeters in the next 5 days, some snow in Toronto too, and more areas there. So beware. Now back here, let's see snow. So there's like the Appalachian shows some as well between the Tennessee and North Carolina, 1.3 inches, West Virginia some 3 inches, the Central Appalachians there, and more from northern Ohio the next 5 days. Now the GFS next 5 days has also some in the Appalachians, Kentucky, West Virginia. This goes there into Pennsylvania, more scared in New York, Maine, those areas. There's some 2 inches, 3 inches. If you come in very close to like 5 inches, and shows more like North Dakota, close to 8 inches, 6, 7. So yeah, be careful. Minnesota, that's snow, Wisconsin, and those areas there. Shows a little bit more than the European Northern California, so some 6 inches or even more. Shows more like there in Oregon too. Shows many parts of Idaho into Washington, those areas. So be aware. In southern Alaska, especially across those mountains, all to 50 inches, 63 inches. So be careful. Some 41 inches. Some other spots to like 58 to 63 inches. Some of the Aleutian Islands, some 3 inches in Anchorage. The Europeans like 2 inches in Anchorage. Some 51 inches in the mountains. So yeah, be careful if you are exploring those areas of southern Alaska with those systems. Shows somewhere in southernmost Alaska, and some 5 inches, 12 inches. And yeah, so be careful. So a shower too, snow northern Alaska, southeastern Alaska, even central Alaska, finger too, but nothing that crazy. So be careful. Those areas, no, and always be aware of like snow squalls and like blowing snow and stuff. So be aware. Let's see if there's something, if there's anything else. Be careful, like waves too, when there are those big systems there near the coast, especially on the west coast there, those extratropical cyclones. And shows here, be aware of fog as well, especially in the morning. Some areas there. It shows fog in Florida too. That's quite weird, but you never know. And yeah, so be aware, stay safe, and check the links in the description to see the warnings in detail there.